let's hear it only that. So what is Uyuni? Um, Uyuni is a big application that you can use to manage your software-defined infrastructure. I am the product owner and technical project manager of SUSE Manager, which is the downstream of Uyuni. It's essentially the same thing as Uyuni, but with commercial support from SUSE. In previous lives, I was a Debian developer, the KDE developer, and well, I also participated in more projects that can be found in IRC, GitHub, and of course via email. I work for SUSE since almost a year ago. So Uyuni, it's a systems management solution. You can use it to deploy and patch and audit, inventor, all the usual stuff you want to do when you manage tens, hundreds, or thousands of systems. So if you have 10 systems and servers, you may be able to do it by hands with some scripts, SSH automation. But when you have 1,000 servers, 10,000 servers, 50,000 servers, you definitely need something that makes your life easier. And that thing is Uyuni. We also do configuration management. You can keep the same files on all your systems synchronized with one click. And it also does virtualization. It's not nearly as powerful as OpenStack is, for instance, but you can think of it of like some build manager on the web. The architecture of Uyuni is the classical server client architecture. We have an Uyuni server, you have the clients, and in the middle, if you have a lot of systems or if you have remote sites, you may want to put proxies. Proxies are essentially cache servers. They do um, cache the packages, configuration files, some stuff, but all the management in the end goes to the server, to all the commands. Now, where does Uyuni come from? In 2010, SUSE took the Spacewalk project from Red Hat, which was the upstream for Red Hat Satellite 5, and painted it green, adapted to SUSE systems, and contributed to Spacewalk. Around 2018, the situation with Spacewalk was, well, not so good. Red Hat had decided to ditch Satellite 5 in favor of something else called Foreman, Catello, and Pulp. They split Satellite in or Spacewalk in several components and went with that. That's the base of the current Red Hat Satellite 6. We, on the other hand, continued to believe in Spacewalk, and at some point in 2018, we forked it. So for the past 2 years, we have had this fork of Spacewalk, which is called Uyuni, and well, Spacewalk will be dead in a month exactly. Well, 29 days now, and it's quite old. It's missing. So, where does the name Uyuni come from? One of the key components of Uyuni that was not possible to put in with Spacewalk while under the control of Red Hat was Salt, a modern automation framework. So Salt Uyuni is the largest salt flat in Bolivia. You can see where this comes from. So with Uyuni, we have made installation very easy. Um, there's still the traditional stack. So if you like Spacewalk, you will love Uyuni. And we have this more modern stack, which is Salt. Most of our new development is Salt only. So for instance, Rel 8 or Ubuntu, it only works, or Debian only works with Salt minions, which is not bad. In fact, it's pretty good because it adds a lot of new features. But if you want to migrate, for instance, from Satellite or Spacewalk, you can keep using traditional stack, and it will just work. With Spacewalk, we have with Uni, we have added uh, integration for containers and Kubernetes. We are working a lot on scalability. Currently, We are aware of users with 30,000 servers, even more than that. We have worked a lot in terms of usability. We have modernized the UI with a new React UI, which is also a single page application UI. And we have also moved from Python 2 and Java 6 or 7 to latest version Python 3 and Java 11. So these are the classical features that you can also find in Spacewalk. You can do systems deployment, you can do patch management, you can do the service pack migration stuff, you can do configuration management, so essentially distribute files, configuration files. You can do bare metal provisioning with Kickstart and to some degree with AutoJust. You can schedule simple action chains on systems. You have the OpenSCAP and CV audit. That's pretty good also. And you have, of course, the API in XML RPC API. Now, what have we added with Uyuni? We have transparent integration with Salt, which means you do not need to know in many cases that you're using Salt behind the scenes. You can manage with the same tool, you can manage on-premise, cloud, hybrid cloud, multi-cloud systems. So we don't have one solution for cloud, one solution for on-premise, like you may have with some other tools. Um, you have this new feature, which is the content lifecycle management, which allows you to define projects and stages for your software channels to match your environments. Is rather useful, for instance, if you want to make sure that you evolve the packages or the software that you distribute. And you can also use filters to add or remove contents. It also allows some nice features, like for instance, if you are using Relate or CentOS 8 or one of the rel clones, you can take a modular repository and flatten it into a normal repository. You can also, this is a recent feature that we added, recurring actions. You can say, okay, every second Saturday at 3 a.m., uh, deploy all the patches or all the packages from this software channel to all these systems. And you can select what systems you want to deploy the software to. You don't need to do this every week or every time. Just schedule it, forget about this. You can build operating systems and container images to create images. Um, you can also, you have these compliance features, the CVI, this cap. You can also subscription match your systems to make sure that you are not oversubscribed or undersubscribed. It also works on the cloud, by the way, the usual suspect, Amazon, Azure, and and Google Cloud. Also with VMware and OpenStack, we also have these virtualization management features using KVM and Zen virtualization hosts. We have integrated the Prometheus and Grafana stack for monitoring, including federation in case you have many sites or many systems and one server is not enough, one Prometheus server is not enough, or you want to separate concerns. Federation is made easy. We also have dashboards for all of this. We have a very cool feature which is called formulas with forms. So if you look at the salt docs or our salt guide, you will see that in order to use salt, you create the same formulas. It's like a playbook comparable to the Ansible playbooks. Now with the Uni, we have these YAML files that essentially create a UI. You don't need to be able to develop software. It's just a YAML file where you take the stuff that you need to fill or the parameters that the salt formula will need, describe them. You can even add some validations, and bam, it works. And then you get a UI. No programming skills required, just a YAML editor. So where are we with Uni? So all the code is all public, and we discuss in public. We have the Uni developer and the Uni users. We first commit everything upstream. So you go to our GitHub project, you will find the code before it even arrives in the repositories that later will be released as SUSE manager. We have IOC, and we are also trying Gitter. to reach more users that may feel that ILC is a bit difficult to use. Our CI is public for the results. We still it's not possible to see all the details of all the results of the Jenkins jobs because that runs internally in SUSE. We are looking into a solution of that for this to move into the public cloud. Currently, Uyuni is available for openSUSE Leap 15.1. We'll move to 15.2 as soon as it's available, and we support kind of a ton of clients. I have tried to group into families, but for some reason, PowerPoint is breaking this thing. So essentially, we support every version of SLI since 11, also openSUSE 42 and 15, RHEL from 6 to 8, CentOS, Oracle Linux, as less expanded support. Something called the Springdale Linux that I only learned a couple of months ago. It's another clone of RHEL by Princeton University. We have recently got community contributions for Fedora 30 and 31 client tools, and also Neil, who I guess is in the audience, is trying to build a unit to run on Fedora. We have partial support for Amazon Linux too. I said partial support because we are able to deploy the packages, but we have some difficulties mirroring it because Amazon Linux uses SQLite metadata instead of the normal XML metadata that RPM repositories usually use. And we also support Ubuntu from 16. We will add Ubuntu 20.04 in the coming weeks. I'm not sure if we will make in the release that we of the unit that we will release in a couple of weeks. If not, it will be available next month in the June release. Debian 9 and 10 also arrived recently as a community contribution. Support is on par to Ubuntu. And one of our Russian guys from Russia added support for something called Astra Linux URL, which is a Russian distribution. It's a Debian fork, and also it has some partial support only. We have also some difficulties mirroring the packages, but this will improve, of course. As you can see, we support a lot of operating systems. Oh, this is the same slide, but uglier and better organized, at least. Okay. Why do I have? Okay. Now, you will notice that I have talked about monthly releases. So for the past 3 months or 4 months, we have been releasing once a month. Uyuni is a rolling release. We don't offer support for past versions. So if you come to me and say, Pau, this is failing with Uyuni 2020 first thing I will tell you, or anyone will tell you in the mailing list is update to the newest version, 2004 in 2 weeks, 2005. The upgrade process is really easy. It's just a zipper up. It doesn't require anything special. We have been working on making the process smooth. So, for instance, in the coming release, we will also add automatic migration of the database schema, which in the past required a manual step, no more. When we move to openSUSE Leap 15.2, we will move from PostgreSQL 10 to 12. That will also be automatic, I could say. That will save a lot of trouble. And this is the upstream for SUSE Manager 4.0 since a couple of years ago. It's, as I said, it's identical to SUSE Manager, but Uyuni is only community supported, while in SUSE Manager you have this support from SUSE. What's next? Leap 15.2 as a base system. We have not considered Jump yet. I don't know if we will ever use that. We haven't simply not even discussed that. We'll see. Maintenance windows. This is something that is rather useful also because we want to avoid, if you are a sysadmin, you want to avoid, for instance, scheduling something during production time, during working hours. So with maintenance windows that will be released probably in June, you will be able to say, okay, I can only install packages or patch systems from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. and that's what happened. You can only schedule uh, jobs to start in those hours. Cluster management. This is a really nice feature. In the current release of Uyuni, you are already able to manage to some degree Kubernetes clusters. It works even better if you use the SUSE Kubernetes distribution cluster CASP essentially. Um, it prevents you from breaking your Kubernetes cluster essentially. Um, but with the next release, probably in June, also, it will certainly not make it into the main release of Uni. You will be able to say, okay, I want to deploy a new Kubernetes cluster. I want to deploy a new Ceph cluster. And with one click, it will happen. I want to upgrade my whole cluster. And that's exactly what will happen. I want to reboot my whole cluster, and then the orchestrator will kick in and start draining the nodes and all of that. That works in collaboration, in close collaboration with the let's say the clustering target. So it's not like we are reinventing how to drain Ceph nodes or Kubernetes clusters. We work with the Kubernetes and we work with Ceph. We just drive it and make sure that we follow some policies that we have after long discussion with all of these. Or we also work, for instance, for HA. Um, what if you have more than 30,000 clients that we know that works? It maybe works for even more than 30,000. Or if what if you need to have separate sites and you want to be able to fully manage all your clients connected to the site. So with the current architecture, with the one Uni server on several Uni proxies, you will not be able to do that because the orders and the commands come from the Uni server. But we have something called the hub, the Uyuni hub, that orchestrates that all. So far, we have the hub is available as an API only feature. You can already from the XML RPC API have several Uyuni servers, and from the hub server, you will be able to orchestrate that. So I can send commands from the hub, disconnect the servers for hours or days, and it will just happen. I don't need to be connected. More usability work, as I said, we have worked on the installation part, on the upgrade part, on the UI part. We will keep improving. And we want also to translate Uyuni into several languages. Currently, we have, I mean, if you try to use Uyuni in a language which is not English, you will notice that some strings are missing and some strings don't really make sense. That's because we inherited the translated strings from Spacewalk, but we have not updated them in a long, long time. We want to revise that and to have also the documentation translated, at least the installation part, the upgrade, the client configuration guides, maybe not the administration guide, which is quite big, or the reference guide, which is huge, and probably not for as a starter, but for more advanced users. And of course, we want to build the community. Now, something that comes up usually that I saw when I was in Debian, when I was a Kitty developer, is I want to contribute to the community, to Uyuni. I want to contribute to this project, but I don't know where to start. Well, if you don't want to code, you can just do translations of the UI documentation. It's pod files. Just contact us on the mailing list because not all of it is just ready. Well, it's ready, but not easy at this moment. You can also help with learning fields, articles, videos, quick start guides. You can take a salt formula from upstream, like for instance, to install a Samba or configure a Samba server, a web server, a key directory authentication that recently came in the mailing list, and that a form that's just YAML file. There's also some interest in the community on how so Debian and Debian-based distributions do not have this concept of errata that RPM-based distributions have. But it's possible to emulate this, and there's some scripts in the community, so this can be implemented. We are missing auto installation support. We have Kickstart and we have Yast, Auto Yast, and we have something called Yomi, which is salt based, but we don't have anything that works with Debian. which could be addressed by implementing pre-seed support or kickstart support, which will probably be the easiest way to start kickstart support for Debian. We have some support for Amazon Linux too, but we cannot import SQL metadata. One way will be to add SQLite metadata support into reposing. The other way will be to just convert SQLite to XML. Maybe virtual host gathers for your favorite cloud or virtualization platform. Mm. Or something more difficult if you want to get serious into coding, GPG, key management, container mirroring and staging, which we cannot do. We can build containers, but we cannot mirror containers to a public registry, for instance, or more virtualization stuff. Microsoft Windows. I love that. That's my pet project. I have a. If you go to my GitHub, I have a branch of Uyuni where I'm working on that. I'm not yet there, but not that far either. Mm. Or we have some editors or file viewers in the UI. Wouldn't it be cool if it acquired language server protocol support, and then I will be able to highlight when something is broken when I make a typo or use a wrong command, something like that, or even create my own dashboards, because currently we have static dashboards. Say you cannot change them, but wouldn't it be cool to create your own dashboard? Kind of what you can do with Grafana, but more integrating that, taking data from the database without the need for a Prometheus exporter for all of that. Now, how do we install Uni? Really easy. Just get lib, add the Uni repository, and install a pattern. Or you can download an appliance, a ready-made appliance, from this OBS repository. Then configure Uni. Important, you need a fully qualified DNS, or the clients will not be able to connect because the SSL certificate will fail. In this wiki page, I documented how to do this easily for with libvirt. Then for lib, you need to install some tool called Spacewalk utils and run Spacewalk command channels to add the channels. You will notice there are tons of channels for all the operating systems that I described, and even the optional repositories. Then this is the slowest part, reposing. You need to mirror your packages. Now, we have made a 600% improvement in reposing. That will be part of the next release in May. So it's much, much faster now. Essentially, it goes as fast as your downlink goes. And also Gone, this is one of the usability stuff that we improved recently. You do not need to create this bootstrap repository, which contains the initial package, the minimal set of packages to register a client. That's gone. It just works automatically now. You probably want to create an activation key. Activation key is something that brings together a few channels that you want to subscribe a system to, a few configuration files, and some parameters. You have three ways to register a client: the web UI, if you want to only do one system or a few systems, because currently you only can do that one by one. You can also create a bootstrap script, which essentially you run from Cloud Init, for instance, or you can do it in reverse. You install the salt minion on the client system, and then configure what the server will be, and on the server side, you will get a request to accept the key. The lib updates repository already includes patch information, which will also be used for audit. And here we have a matrix with all the supported features. You can ask us in IOC or Gitter. If you want to learn more details, full training course, SUSE has released the training materials for the deployment and initial configuration, which it's called deployment initial configuration, but goes as far as content lifecycle management. So it's very good material. You will want to watch this to get serious with the Uni. For CentOS, same thing. You just need to use an external service to get the errata, because CentOS does not provide the errata in a way that you can download. It's fully documented how to do this in the Unidocs and also the support matrix. These are a few screenshots how this looks. You can see that it's rather big. Here, for instance, I run a command an ls on a system, and I can see here the output when it was executed and everything. As you can see here, there are quite a few features. So there are many different use cases for Uyuni. Here you can see, for instance, the patches for CentOS that I synchronize using the SteamIF service. And usual questions I get, CentOS, it's supported. Um, Essentially everything, even app streams which do not work with Spacewalk. And in the release coming in 2 weeks, you will also be able to pick the app streams from the UI. Currently, you need to type them. Is it available for CentOS? No. If someone from the community contributes it, we will gladly accept and we are able to help. But SUSE will not do that. Can Uyuni manage Microsoft Windows? Not yet. My pet project. If you want to help, come to me. And you can also join us. So 3 minutes for questions.